The weather, oh, the weather, ruining my plans, come on and get it together. You're so mean, so mean. The weather, oh, the weather, waiting for the sun, but it's not getting better. It's so mean, so mean.
Yo, I don't miss the woolen jackets and the winter caps, scratchy scarves.
Good afternoon. It's not afternoon. What's your favorite airport? Welcome to this video. This is going to be a slightly awkward intro. This is a video about the end of middle school and kind of like the effect it can have. I just want to start off by saying I have never worked harder on a video ever, so I really hope you guys like it. If in the beginning it seems a little dumb, then just I promise it gets better later on. There are some intense Ash Ardell vibes to this video. I basically stole one of their intros with the whole like coffee thing. This video is very long, so I have divided this video into like chapters. So here are the chapters. I wanted to make this video because I thought that middle school was just such like a learning, shifting, weird experience, and the final end of it just seemed like such a big deal to me that I thought that making a video like this would be like a good way to like commemorate it. Middle school was, how do I say it? Bad. So much stuff happened in these past 3 years, and then there was also the fact that it was 3 years long. Like while it was happening, it kind of started to feel like even though I knew objectively that I would be leaving, it kind of felt like it would just keep going on forever. I had spent so much time and focus in it that it kind of felt weird to imagine like not going to middle school every weekday. This video is of the last 2 weeks of school, the celebrations of the end of school, the events that happened, and how a lot of other people felt about it too, students and teachers. This video is real proof for me and anyone in it that indeed we did make it through. So, here it is.
We could stay inside together, you and I in matching sweaters, and though it may just be forever, me and you could beat the weather. Oh, I know that summertime is overdue, but I know I can make it.
This story starts off oddly at the beginning of the end of a much bigger story. After almost 3 whole years after starting 6th grade, the start of the final weeks of middle school kicked off with a field trip for the whole grade for Dorney Park.
Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. This is the tempo.
Let's guess the words.
I'm just a poor wind blows. Doesn't really matter to me. Carry on. Yo, dude, is it a fraction? Is it a fraction or a decimal?
No!
What was that?
That's fine.
Yeah, you guys like scream, say yeah! Yeah! Yay! Ozzy, was that a good day?
So I said that middle school was really bad in total, but I have made a lot of really good friends in middle school, and I have had some really fun individual times, but it did take a while to get to that point. It took a long time throughout school to find friends, the right friends that I could really rely on and have a lot of fun with. Something that I think I learned during middle school because of like dumb things I did is that it really helps nothing to overcomplicate things. If you want to talk to someone, just call them. If you want to hang out with someone, just tell them. And if you want to ask someone a question, just ask it. Talking really straightforward with people is really only awkward if you let it be awkward. Other just roundabout ways of asking the same stuff just seems like a waste of time. If I had talked more straightforward in 6th and 7th grade, I would have been able to avoid a lot of awkward situations and also get closer to a lot of people a lot sooner. The next event was the 8th grade dance. I have no idea why they decided to put the formal exactly the next day after the Dorney trip, because like more than half of the grade got totally sunburnt.
Explain what we're doing.
We're bringing Mr. Elworks to the high school cafeteria so that he can
Ask
go,
Ms. Gloff
yeah,
if
ask
he
Ms. Gloff
can.
if he can go chaperone. Because he's
At the
great.
what? At the what? At the what?
At the middle school formal.
Yes.
The 8th grade formal
Dance. Yes.
dance. What if it's locked?
Oh, if it's locked, she's in there.
No, I meant the door.
It's not locked. I'll bet anything. I'll bet my soul.
Well,
Oh,
right.
you already gave me your soul.
Bing bong.
He scams you. He said he would give me his soul because I helped him for the entire year last year in algebra, and like now he's just like he's got.
Okay, I don't want to go in because I don't want to spoil it for me, but I will
Okay,
drop.
come on, we'll drop you
honey,
off,
honey, we're dropping you off at soccer practice. So, bye bye. Go ask Miss Clough. We'll stay right out here.
He can do it. He can chaperone. You can chaperone. Yes.
Say it works. Say I could chaperone. Jason, now is that a success or what?
That is a definite success.
Nice.
That was not a good.
Formal is at 6:30, and it is 3:30 right now.
Ah! Yo, you almost made me fart. Hi, Micah.
Grace, say something. I mean, Layla, say something.
Say something. It's time to rock around the time is ticking.
You guys are just hanging out here. Good.
Miss G came in here and she didn't have a problem with it, so I'm sure we're allowed.
Cool beans. Adrian, how's the dance? Strike a pose. I am the Globgo Gabgola. Adrian, look, it's my favorite circle. Adrian, if you can do that, that would be impressive. Hey, wait, are you a bodyguard?
As you can see, check out my email. If you're being bullied, I got you. Alu Services.
Did you make?
That's it. Now we get to go to a wonderful. Grace, look at this beautiful.
Like 5 more
look at this
circles.
beautiful
We
room.
stopped at all the beach house.
Thank you.
Hi.
Bye.
Did it. That was really fun. Success. A problem that like me and a lot of people I know had during middle school was being like really self-conscious all the time. Trying to just be like the most genuine yourself while not caring what other people think can still be pretty scary, even when you don't think anyone's going to be mean about it. It can still be scary doing it. I decided to wear a dress to formal because I just wanted to. When I was there, a lot of people asked me why I did it. I didn't do it to like make a statement or anything or to make a point. I just did it for the same reason that like anyone would wear a suit or that anyone would wear a dress. It's just, I just wanted to. It wasn't a big deal. And I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad that was my mindset towards it because it ended up being a really fun dance. It was really fun. I moved out here for another place to film it so that it would be more interesting and less boring to stay in one place. I'm going to Outward Bound after school ends in North Carolina. If you don't know what Outward Bound is, it's technically a school, Outward Bound School, but it's basically just camping, really intense camping and hiking and whatever you choose for your course. I'm doing it for 22 days in North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains, backpacking, whitewater canoeing, and rock climbing. And my friend Ben's coming with me. Yeah, so this was a hike that me and Ben went on to like prepare for Outward Bound. Yo, say something. I just want to film something. I'm going for a lot of reasons. I thought that it would be beneficial to go in a lot of ways. Physical benefits, but also like you get like a huge sense of accomplishment at the end. But a pretty good reason that I went also is most of the time when I was in middle school, especially in 8th grade, it kind of felt like all the time there was like a bunch of thoughts always floating around in my head. Like it seemed like I had like it seemed like I knew I had to do a bunch of stuff in the back of my mind, but I couldn't just quite remember what it was. It seemed like I was kind of just doing so much stuff that it was hard to focus on anything particular. So I thought that going on Outward Bound would be a really good way to like clear my head from school and a lot of things. I could just relax easier, and then I could also, when I wanted to focus on stuff, I could focus a lot easier on stuff. Oh, also, I got a haircut from all the videos that are actually in this video. I got a haircut from since it was filmed. I know this video has been mostly just me talking, so I'd like to turn it over to a much more interesting part of the video. Here are a bunch of interviews about middle school from a bunch of students and teachers. I'm really happy with how these turned out. People really went into depth with their answers. They really came together well. Please enjoy. How do you think middle school was in total?
Terrible. Middle school is awful. No one should do it.
There was so much drama. I think the best word to describe middle school, honestly, is stupid.
It got worse and worse along the way. At least for me, it was a really stressful period of my life, and I had a lot of issues along the way.
Middle school. Middle school has been one of the weirdest, toughest years, I'd say. There's so many things that happened in those years, that amount of time. Either it's been in my personal life or school life.
Even though, like, you obviously learn a lot, just, like, everyone's dumb in middle school. It's stupid, but it's an experience.
I think I left better than I came in because, as you probably know, I had some anger issues going in. And I really worked past that, and like I said, I found a better group of friends. I'm much more emotionally intelligent than I was before, and I'm much more, like, not cultured, but much more aware of the world around me than I was before in a way I wasn't previously.
For me, I didn't like middle school. It was weird because we were all sort of going through, middle school things. We were all like 13, so there was, school, we were just, figuring out how to like switch classes and stuff, and then there was like, stuff, like puberty stuff, and like everything feels so much more intense when you're 13, and it was a rough one. Middle school was rough.
I don't know, I feel like I ended off the year more happy than when I came here, and I learned a lot.
I learned a bunch of life lessons, like I learned to think before you speak. A bunch of life lessons, just a bunch of shit that you should already know, I guess.
Ooh, definitely more from experience. The school helped, sure, like academically. I found it more like intriguing and learned a lot more when I would be with like who I normally hang out with, and we would do everything. I found it way more fun and like enticing than being here.
Yeah, from experience, from being able to really talk with my parents and just other adults like that I couldn't before because, I was a child. So I learned more about myself, and in the person I became, I was able to connect more with people who knew more, and thus was able to learn more about the world.
Hey, I'm Gianna, and I'm going to be telling Bridget to answer some questions. Okay. How was 8th grade?
8th grade.
8th grade was definitely something.
I'm glad it happened, and I probably wouldn't change it. However, it wasn't exactly emotionally uplifting, I'd say. Like I said, I'm glad it happened. It was a good learning experience, but I did not like the way it happened, you know? Learning sort of who I was, and also, like, in the beginning, I was with some really awful friends, and then through 8th grade, I also, like, I learned that I learned that I don't need to depend on them, and that I have other people I can reach towards if need be. So, you know, like, and then I found a much better group of friends who are much nicer, and it's just, I left much better than I came in, you know?
8th grade specifically, 8th grade specifically was, for me, it was sort of like my experimental year. I feel like I was just like trying a whole bunch of stuff all the time and like trying to figure out who I was. And like everybody else was doing that too, but like 8th grade where I was, it was like very sort of, you know, people were like, you know, gossipy and cliquey and like kind of petty all the time because everything is so much more intense when you're that age. I didn't have fun 8th grade.
For me, 8th grade was, like, super sucky in the beginning, but then, like, at the end it was so epic. I loved 8th grade. It was the best. It was one of my best years in middle school, yeah.
8th grade has been a heck of a year. It has been so great, so amazing. I've met so many dope, cool people. I've lost friends, as you know. I've also gained some friends.
I feel like 8th grade was definitely better than my other years. It still sucked because it's middle school, obviously.
It was a pretty good experience overall. The people in the school makes it better, and I feel like the teachers help you.
The teachers were fine. Miss Paxton, she's awesome.
8th grade was a generally difficult year for, I'd say, about everyone, but we all made it through, and it was generally fine, but there were a few mishaps along the way. It's just school. School, you know, the constant flow of work, just general social things. At least that's how I view it, that it was somewhat difficult for everyone.
Best part of middle school is, for me, right? That's the question. Okay.
You can't answer that for other people, really.
Well, I mean, I could give like a general cheesy answer, like the people you'll meet.
Definitely the people.
My friends. Friendship, 100%. I think that one of the only good parts of middle school is, like, having friends and just being supported and having fun.
The field trip to Dorney was pretty great. Just that was a really good part, I think, that field trip to Dorney. Just generally spending time with friends and talking with people.
Without like the people that I know, like you or like, you know, any of the other, I won't really say their names, but those people, they definitely made being here way more fun. If I had the option to like redo it again without them, I wouldn't want to do it. You and like everybody who I met played like a huge role to where I am now and who I am.
Like, at this point in our lives, nothing matters. Like, it's not like our colleges are going to be looking at our 7th grade yearbooks and stuff. It's just, it's so fun.
A good part. The best part, I'm not sure. I'll get back to that question.
How do you feel about leaving middle school?
Happy, very happy. Oh, very, very happy.
I'm happy. We were talking about it earlier. I am so happy it's over.
When I left middle school, I was pretty happy that I was leaving.
That question. Leaving.
I want to venture out into the world of being a teenager, and you know, everything is way more fun when you don't have that many people holding you back. Oh, should I like bring it closer to me?
In high school, I'm gonna get more freedom. I'm going to be with my sibling, who they're my best friend. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what's in the future for me.
I did learn a lot being here, but I'll definitely learn way more when I'm over there, doing everything, and meeting new people, doing new things, maybe bad things, but everybody does it.
I'm happy to get over it and to transition to the new, like, part of life where stuff actually matters and stuff. Stuff actually matters now, I know I'm gonna be really stressed, and I know I'm gonna be looking back at these days when all I could do was, like, chill out with some friends and have a blast and, like, enjoy being young and stuff. I'm gonna miss it. Definitely gonna miss middle school. But I'm glad it's over,
I'd be pretty sad. Well, because of the people there I've met. Some people are like there, but what can you do?
I am pretty sad about that because middle school was kind of like, just a flowing, just somewhere you can go to.
I'm kind of sad and kind of nervous for high school because, I'm the worst procrastinator ever, and I feel like I'm gonna do really bad in high school.
Nervous, and I'm happy to put this chapter of my life behind me, so that way I can move on and just try harder in the future. It's like a second chance almost.
I'm a bit saddened that I must leave my friends like Micah and children. Overall, it's more like I'm kind of bored of middle school, honestly.
Are you going to a different high school?
Probably, yeah. Where I'm going to be doing engineering and taking over the world secretly.
Whether or not specific moments were good or bad, are you glad that it happened?
Yeah. 100%. I learned a lot from my middle school experiences.
At the time, at the time, no, I've been through a lot, way too much that I can even talk about, and looking back on it, it helped me more than it did damage. Yeah, you grow from what you learn, and you move on, and I don't know, I feel like what I've been through kind of helped me a lot into forming me into a better man.
I'm pretty glad middle school happened, because middle school, as I said, 8th grade was sort of my experimental year. It was I was going through this really heavy goth phase. I was, which I haven't quite grown out of. I'm almost 17 now, and that's also when I was just starting to figure out my gender and stuff, and I was coming out as trans to the first few people. I feel like if middle school hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have had the experiences that made me sort of question who I was, and I wouldn't have had those crazy experimental years, and I probably wouldn't be the same person without middle school.
I think middle school was overall, it was pretty worth it. I did learn a lot. It was pretty, I made a lot of friends, and kind of I can define myself now. Not really. Just got more confused over the years.
Yeah, I am, because I learned a lot of things, and I learned that I shouldn't procrastinate as much, and that, and I just learned to prioritize my time and stuff, so yeah.
Yes, I am. I met a lot of great people here, and people that I want to stay close to.
I've met some people that have shown me what people are, I suppose. There's obviously some good people and there's some bad people in the world. Middle school has definitely showed me that. And I'm glad it happened because it's taught me a lot of things. I feel like this year I've been more, more talkative, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yes. Because in general, yes, it was terrible. Never want to do it again. But also, there were a few good parts of it, basketball. Like I now talk to people I never would have talked to if I didn't join the basketball team. There have definitely been some positive aspects that I wouldn't want to lose.
I'm glad that it all happened because although I made mistakes, I think I've grown as a person. I generally became more knowledgeable, more aware, being able to cope with things and manage just with general issues in your life. I wouldn't skip over it no matter how difficult it was.
You know what? Yeah, I did a lot, and I'm proud of what I did. I definitely failed a lot here and there, maybe permanently, but I tried hard to do what I did, and it paid off, because I'm here now, going to high school. Daddy.
That's what I want to say.
Alright, beanbag. That means good.
Okay. Beanbag bye.
That's it, and that's all. I've been Ched Whistle. Toodaloo.
Good afternoon. It's actually afternoon this time. I was just editing this video right now. In this video, I interview not just students, but also teachers. I have a different set of questions that I ask the students, and I gotta admit, while I was actually recording the interviews with the teachers, I wasn't entirely sure what that would add to the video. I didn't really know exactly if that would be completely relevant because it's a video about like the end of middle school, and the only people who are graduating are the students, not the teachers. But as I was editing the video, I kind of realized another thing that these actually add to the video. So firstly, I think a cool thing that these interviews add to the video is how like you can see how much different the experience is for the students and the teachers, even though it's like happening at the same time. Secondly, you can kind of actually see in some aspects how their experiences were actually similar. A bunch of the teachers said that they learn a lot of stuff each year, and the students say that they learn a lot of stuff each year too. And thirdly, and I think this is coolest, is that you can, in some of the teachers' answers, you can kind of actually see how they like fit together with the student answers. When teachers say that like the school figured out things that they should change in like the way that they deal with problems, that was like because of problems and reactions to middle school that the students were having, that those interviews talked about. You can see how the same events and time period was like experienced from like two really different perspectives. So I just think that's cool.
Is that a light meter or a mic?
It's a mic.
Oh, okay.
What would that be?
A light meter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think every year has its bumps in the road and things that go smoothly and things that are a little bit more complicated. But for me professionally, it was a really good year. And I think for the school itself, you know, it was a growing year, and we figured some things out and figured out some things that we need to work on. Like any year, but yeah, I do.
Of course. Every year is a different year, and that's what I love best about teaching, is because my students are always different, even though aspects of the job remain the same. But it's really the students, it's really you guys that make it great. And so every year is a great year. I know it sounds cliche and silly, but I mean it sincerely.
I feel like every year I learned something new about myself, right? Because when I first started, I was a brand new teacher, and I didn't really know what to expect. But I feel like being able to follow you guys, especially from like 6th grade on to 8th grade, is just such a pleasure. I think each year I learn more and more about you guys, and I get to see you guys change and learn, and not just like in an educational way, but as human beings. Like I get to see you guys change into the young adults that you're gonna become when you're older. So I think, I don't know, every year gets better and better for me, getting to have the honor to see you guys grow.
For me, it was a learning experience because I was the new guy. And I think for you guys too, because I was the new guy. But I think it went pretty well. I think you warmed up to Martino pretty quick.
I thought it was a good year. I thought it was a very successful year in many different ways. I think a lot of students show growth this year, and that includes the 7th and the 8th grade. But I saw growth across the board from everybody. I know that there were some trying times this year. I know there were some things that went on that were, you'd call it an obstacle, but I also saw a lot of people move forward from that and really try to work to restore, relationships and really try to work hard to, reestablish trust. And I thought that was really positive this year. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good year.
Do you think that, did I get less annoying throughout the year?
Absolutely.
Only from your perspective. I didn't change the
Well,
way I
you were
acted at all.
expecting a different person, so but yeah, all's well that ends well.
This is like my last year in middle school, and I know I'm gonna have you next year, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But for me, ending middle school is like a really big deal. But do you think that high school is overall better or worse than middle school? Which one would be like more fondly looked upon from the student?
Personally, I thought it was better, but marginally. I looked upon high school fondly, like the latter part of it. You got to find that crew that you kind of latch onto and hang with, and that makes it a lot better, for sure.
Honesty, to be completely honest.
Honesty. I think honesty, because when a student is honest with me, I know that they trust me. And I like knowing that my students can trust me because I'm here for you guys and to help you guys.
Any student that can express what they're going through to me in an honest way, I can work with them to make sure they achieve their very best. Whether it be, a project they can't get done, somewhere they were that if it wasn't in my room when they were supposed to be and they were supposed to be here, when I know that I can trust a student because I know that they have proven themselves to be honest, we can work together to make sure that they have the best, experience in the art room, but also just the school year in general.
Whether it's, tutoring in math, which is not a subject I'm good in, or, talking you guys through an issue that you guys are having, I think that without honesty, you can't get to the root of an issue or a problem. So I feel like my honest students, the students that are most honest to me, they really want for themselves to help with whatever they have going on.
It's hard to put that into one thing. I mean, trust is one thing. And what I mean by trust isn't that like I'm going to give you a pencil and you're going to give it back to me. That's one small aspect of trust, and it means something to me, believe it or not. Trust in the sense that trust me that I'm going to do everything I can to make you successful, and I need to trust you that you're going to try. So a type of honesty. Work ethic is great. Not everybody has a work ethic or the same work ethic, so it's kind of like I have to adapt to each person. And again, it's like hard, like they're all kind of like, here's one, but this one's like right here too, and this is right here. So it's really not one answer.
I value students that work hard because you know what? All other gifts that they may have, and everybody has gifts, are irrelevant if you're not willing to put them to the test and actually work to achieve what you want. So I love students that have a good work ethic, and that's something that I try to emphasize.
I think that you need to practice math the way you need to practice music. And so I think that if I teach you something and you practice it, that's helpful. There are some natural musicians, and there are some natural mathematicians, but almost everybody else needs to practice.
It's just having the kind of moral character to understand that, like, you're part of a community, and you're allowed to be an individual in that community, but also you have to be part of the community. So it's kind of several answers.
So this is like, you kind of stood out when I was thinking of this one, because like what do you think is the best way of teaching, like the best relationship to have with the students? Because you were the most mutual respect kind of.
I think you kind of answered your own question. It really does have to come down to respect. You have to believe, so that means I have to show, I have to display that I respect you. And it's the kind of thing when we walk into a classroom, what I would hope is that the students like, okay, there's a teacher in the classroom, this person took time to get here, wants to be in this classroom, so I'll respect that. And then you're a student, you're coming in, I know that you're intelligent, I know that you're, capable, and I respect that too. That's why at the beginning of the year I call everybody young men and young women. I don't treat everybody like little kids, even though I know you can't drive and vote and all that stuff. But I still respect the voice that you have.
So I think the most mutually beneficial relationship with a student is probably where we have mutual respect for each other. They respect the job that I'm trying to do, which is to educate them to the best of my ability, and then that they would have respect for themselves and everybody else in the room. So that's again doing your best and trusting that something good will come of the activity that they're working on.
I think that's a big part of it. Like in terms of teaching, once you respect each other, there's mutual respect, then you can actually go somewhere. But when there's that distrust, when there's that lack of respect, and sometimes it needs to be earned. Like you come into the classroom, just because I'm the teacher, you respect me on that level, but it doesn't mean you respect me as a teacher. And then slowly, as you see, I'm not trying to trick you, that I'm trying to teach you, that I'm trying to help you to be successful, I'm trying to adapt to what would make you successful, and then you follow the expectations, you actually try and commit to the classroom. Like I tell everybody, invest in the classroom. I'm going to invest myself so I know the return is going to be I'm going to learn something. I think that's the best way to teach, is once you have that mutual respect, then you'll trust me to take you places you wouldn't expect to go. You didn't think you could write a 4-page paper, an 8-page paper, a 12-page paper, or write a 4-point rubric, or examine this part of history. And in the same token, I'm going to respect you. If I say, here's your choices, you're going to choose well, and you're going to give me what you can and try your hardest. So I think a lot of that has to do with just respect.
I mean, teaching art is different kind of than any other subject because I feel like I get to connect with kids in a very different way. So I like to build relationships first with the individuals, and it's good for me because I get to see all the kids 3 years in a row. So especially by 8th grade, I really, I feel like I know my students well, and then from there I think everything else comes a lot more easily. Anything you teach somebody, when they trust you and you have a good relationship or rapport with your students, then everything else is easy from there.
I think as teachers, we hear about a problem or we hear about an issue going on in class or whatever it can be, and we always want to try to fix it for the students. I think the most beneficial relationship is a relationship where we have a lot of high expectations, but also high support. If our expectations are really, really high, but we don't offer the support to get you there, that's not a good relationship because we're kind of teaching to a student and not with. And support in many ways. Whether it's telling a student where they can go for tutoring or go for help, or giving up your lunch period to help a student, master something, or just being there to listen when a student has, something going on at home or something going on in school that they, it's too much for them to handle. I think, support shows itself in many ways.
Are you proud of your students, and why?
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm gonna cry.
I'm proud of all my students for different reasons. To ask me why would take probably a lot longer than you can give on the camera.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I brag about teaching in Highland Park. I brag about teaching how. This is my 10th year. I got my 10-year pin.
I am proud of my students. I think that every young person is working to learn, and every young person is working to improve. And I think that's a reason to be proud of them.
But I'm proud of students that work hard. I'm proud of students that are creative. I'm proud of students that go out on a limb and are courageous. I could go on and on. I would just say, you know what? Push yourselves. Get out on a limb and do the thing that you feel is that you were put on this earth to do, and do it to the best of your ability. And so I admire all qualities that make that happen.
I'm very proud of my students. I think especially by June when we're all tired and we're ready for summer and exhausted both physically and mentally, it can be really easy to sort of focus on the negatives of the year. But I think when you take a minute to reflect on the positives and all the good things that happened and all the good that you see happening, because sometimes you can focus on all the things going on that shouldn't be happening in the building. I see a lot of good around me every single day. I see kids being kind to each other. I see kids growing. I don't think you guys realize how much you mature from 6th to 7th to 8th grade, but it's huge, and we get to see that.
I brag about teaching here. I brag about the students at Highland Park. I brag about this community and how I feel supported here, without question. The students make me feel like amazing. Your abilities, what you guys have been able to accomplish, just in a year, and then I see you like for you guys, like next year, and then when you're seniors and you do that senior clap down the hallway, I'm like, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
I really love seeing kids when have been in high school a few years too, and to see even more how that changes and evolves. It makes me proud to be a teacher and proud to work here.
You guys have just grown so much. I'm so proud of you guys. Seeing you guys from 6th grade coming in all nervous, not knowing what to expect or do, or I'm so proud of you guys in so many different ways. This town is so beautiful because you guys truly, even from your Be the Change projects, you could see the big hearts that you have. And, I just think that you guys are going to change the world, and I can't wait to be in the audience. Every time I see one of my former students, make a big change, I can definitely tell that you guys are going in the right direction. You guys are going to work together and change the world for sure.
It's like the individuals in this community who just really shine. I am excessively proud to teach at Highland Park, and I'm proud of my students every year just to see the change.
Awesome. That's it, yeah.
Hey man, my pleasure.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best. Seriously, please come back and visit.
I'm really happy with how those interviews turned out. I think that people really had a lot to say about it, and I think they really said what they wanted to say pretty well. My friend Bridget was actually out of town when I was filming those, so that's why hers was filmed just not on my camera and also in an airport. Actually, when she was in town, I said that I could film it then, but she just said that she wanted me to text the questions to her, and that when she was on the trip, she would be on a hike, and that she would film her answering the questions on the hike with this really nice beautiful scenery in the background or something. She ended up not being able to do that, but she sent this video to explain.
I forgot to film it in the mountains. I didn't have my phone with me. My phone was in the car, and we were at a party, so I couldn't really do anything. I had to take care of my niece, my 4-year-old niece, so sorry about that.
And me.
But yeah, a lot of people gave really well thought out answers. I thought that was really cool.
We could stay inside together, you and I in matching sweaters.
So this next thing kind of needs a bit of context for it. There's this math teacher that we really like, is pretty cool and jolly, and he was retiring this year, and we kind of wanted to bake a cake to for a going away present. His name's Mr. Gunn, and a thing that he does in his class is give out for if you do your work, you get things called gun bucks, which are is this fake money that you can buy stuff like ties, water bottles, but what he's most well known for is that you can buy pickles with gun bucks for I think it's 4 gun bucks you can buy a pickle, and for 50 gun bucks you can buy a whole jar. So you'll see what kind of cake we make. Jason.
Yes.
Where are we and what are we doing?
Stop and Shop, because we're going to buy stuff so that we can make Mr. Gunn's cake.
Which is going to be what kind of cake?
It's a pickle cake. Yeah. I don't like you.
Wait, so what's the deal?
We're going to take...
Wait, Ezra, what radio song are you playing?
Radio, guys. You should listen to me.
I can't play this song.
Half legato and half staccato. You're kind of keeping... It should kind of sound like legato, but your technique, it should still remain detached. It should still sound like...
I see.
Yes. So it should flow, but it still should be detached. Yeah.
We have a bit of a conundrum right here, which is that we need baking soda. And
Michael, we just got 2 yolks out of a single egg.
What? Oh yay, we got a mutant egg.
I know!
Mr. Gunn might not be that proud of us though, because even though this is a cake for him, and he's a math teacher, we're doing a lot of estimation. And also, we need baking soda, and we have 3 things of baking powder, but we can't find baking soda, so we sent
Esther
off to go get some.
Oh my god.
What? It did it again?
Why don't I ever get these?
Since we could really use some help, Ezra used to have Mr. Gunn, so he's going to help us. But he said that Mr. Gunn wasn't ever a big fan of his because he didn't really do his work in his class. So this is like making this cake is like the way for him to show
redemption.
Yeah, it's like to redeem himself.
Okay, yeah.
I've never seen Jason be this careful with something other than math or piano. Jason did something wonderfully smart.
Yeah.
No, turn that off. I gotta say this. It says, add the eggs and egg yolks at one time. So add them at the same time.
Yes.
So it says 4 large eggs and 4 large egg yolks. So we just took, Jason didn't even take 8 eggs. He took 4 eggs, and then he just separated the yolks from the whites, and then he's just gonna put those in at the same time. So there's no point in separating them.
We still need 2 more egg yolks though. Oh, but then we actually sized it correctly.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
Mr. Gunn was a very good math teacher. His class was very well taught, and I'm very sorry I didn't pay more attention in his class and try harder, because he explained stuff in a very, very clear and effective way, I feel. And I like the system he used as a. Well, I like how he explained proofs, and also like the gun books, and how he gave can puzzles as extra credit. I don't know. It was a good class.
Now that he's retiring, do you feel that making this cake is a good way to show your love?
Sure.
Say, I love you.
That's a little weird. I love you, Mr. Gunn.
Okay.
That's about a 30, you would say?
Yeah, a bit more. I feel like I'm doing something like holy. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the batter and we're gonna put it in the pans and we're gonna bake it, and then.
So it's supposed to be the shape of a pickle.
Yes,
so
we're gonna cut it so that it looks like a
pickle. What we're gonna do is we got these 2 pans, and you know how like a pickle's curved, so we're gonna make it in these 2 pans and then put it together like this and like cut the edges. We're gonna do something to make it look like a pickle.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
And then this is not gonna be green, but the frosting is gonna be green, which might look really weird though.
Shut up.
Also, it's raining, so
Vanilla
whose
is
fault
such
do you
an
think that is, Jason? God. So here are the 2 things, and they're full.
Yes, that's correct.
Ah! The cakes are done baking. This is how we're gonna do it. Ooh. Oh god. Moment of truth. Huh? Moment of truth, here we go. Ooh. Ooh. Nice. The truth is true.
Right now, while we're gonna wait for the cakes to cool, and we're gonna mix in this green food coloring with.
Dad, what's your opinion on this?
Yes, I think everything is going according to plan.
TMZ.
Yep.
Okay. I feel like it's a bit like
Oh, ooh! Look at that. Show you when it's done. You want to help do we can do like a cut, like so we can like snap it, and then we'll also do another slap there, and it'll go like so 3, 2, 1. No, all right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. So now it's done. Done. Check that out.
Like, you know how long I've been waiting for this?
This is leftovers that we chopped off so we could make it this shape. But this is, and we're gonna eat those now, right, Esther?
Yeah.
But this is great. And we were while we were frosting it, we had an excellent conversation about the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
and
we
communism.
did.
Like, right, Ezra? All right, success. Vibo, do you want to say something? Vibo, do you want to say something? No. I think that was boring. Yes.
I'm gonna take the tie. Ozzy's gonna take the speaker, and Micah's gonna carry it.
What is that for?
We're all in here. Hey, Mr. Gunn.
Hi, Mr. Gunn.
Mr. Gunn.
Making an old man very happy. Thank you.
Mr. Gunn! Mr. Gunn! Mr. Gunn! Oh! Okay. Everybody else is a really thin. Yeah, exactly. Like not even.
I'm not giving you a
And what's the like blob thing?
Patrick, go away or else I'll smack you.
The cake was delicious, and thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
I've never had a pickle-shaped cake before.
I have a
and I hope to have many, many more.
Do you remember my broski Ezra?
Yeah, I certainly do.
So Ezra says that he apologizes for not paying as much attention as he could in class, and he helped make this cake to say I love you.
Thank you, Ezra, and I'm sure you're doing very well.
All right, toodaloo then.
Bye-bye.
I kind of want an extra piece of cake. You know what I mean?
Everyone getting the shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Cake.
This is the grooviest intrusion we've ever done.
We have come.
We did really have some pretty cool teachers in middle school. Not all of them, but a pretty good amount of them. The best teachers, I think, are the ones that you can really kind of be friends with. Like teachers that use the word respect when they ask for your respect in a way that's like they're not asking for you to always be totally professional and like always be focused on your work and never like have any side conversations, but like you could kind of feel like you could actually talk to them or joke with them and have like interesting conversations and actually share your real opinions with. I learned a lot more from them in their class because I paid attention more, because I liked them more, but also I was able to learn more just in general because you learn when you talk to people like that. So I had some really cool conversations with teachers like that. Like you'll see in some of the interviews I did with teachers later in the video, some of them talk about like when you already have a friendship-like relationship with the students, teaching and everything just comes much easier, and I think that's totally true. Next was this day. This day didn't really have anything super special. We just went outside to go watch the seniors get passed by, and while we went outside, I found this.
You got so lucky. No, yeah.
And really all this next day was just kind of doing rehearsal most of the day for graduation.
Or graduation practice.
Hello. This next day was our last real classes, and I'm using the word real very lightly. To school today. It's just this bag with my camera in it and my yearbook, and this, which is just for the orchestra party. I'm not even bringing any of my school stuff. Guess who's back early? I'm not gonna show it!
I'm Nicole.
After 3 years of middle school and all those events that just passed, we finally made it to the last day. We shall rewind back to the calendar to see what happened on the last day of middle school. So. Today's graduation. Alright, so I need to get ready. Boom.
Harry.
Looks like you're actually clean.
Last day of middle school ever.
Yes.
I'm filming you.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the last day of school?
I don't really know.
You excited for graduation?
I kind of just want to go home and take a nap.
Alright, sounds good.
Yes.
The last orchestra ever. Dress code.
Okay, they say no t-shirts, no shorts, whatever.
And no sneakers. I'm doing all that.
This is classic. Breaking out the fine china.
Nice.
Pouring it over a piano. How does that make you feel, Jason? Does that make you break out into a cold sweat? Now he's pouring something over a piano like that. Cheers, Micah.
It's very low. How do I make it high? There we go. This was the speech that I was going to give at the concert, but I chickened out to do it. So now I'm gonna imitate you handing me the microphone. So just hand me some air. All right. Hey, it's Ozzy. When I was thinking of what to get something for Martino for the end of the year, I was thinking, maybe I should get something that like represents something that really just embodies the wonderful jokiness of the year. So I went to the gift store, the sentimental gift store, full of like things like coat hangers, and I was looking around and I saw something and that just immediately caught my eye. And I was like, that for some reason reminds me of Martino. And it was this wonderful LED light bulb right next to some eggs and some very smooth golf balls. For some reason, it just reminded me so much of you. And so I just... And
I'm glad you didn't make the speech at the concert.
And here you go. I just want to give you this to represent the wonderful way that you have taught us in a fun way. And
thank you. And it's so practical too. Thank you, Micah. Cheers.
Cheers. Are you wondering why I'm filming it? You need to wonder. Just say I wonder. Alright, cool. My folder says jazzercise in it. That's cool. Isn't that right, Ozzy? My folder says jazzercise
Not
in
again.
it. Alright, there we go. This is going to be the thumbnail.
I don't need to. Yes, please.
It's the last day of school.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Both happy and sad.
There's a rule behind you.
I'm aware.
You're in. This is the final walk.
Indeed.
The final walk from middle school to high school, literally. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide or escape from reality? We're in the high school now. No turning back. So closer to the end of the year, when I started like counting down the days and the time it would be until we actually graduated, it got kind of hard to believe that it was like really happening. It was hard to comprehend the actual end of it because like I had spent so much time and focus in it that it kind of felt weird to imagine like not going to middle school every weekday. Graduation was kind of surreal. It was like such a big deal, but it was happening like so quickly. Throughout the day, I was doing so much stuff with talking to people and filming shots of the school and filming interviews. So it was pretty hard to like focus on actually being there. I do remember for some reason they ended Pomp and Circumstance right in the middle of the song.
Will now perform Season of Love.
Also, my mom was on the other side of the planet at the time, and so she was on FaceTime for the ceremony, but she actually fell asleep during it, which was really funny because of the time difference.
As a result, I became a lawyer, and I just wish I had recognized that a little sooner. So try to tune into yourselves when you have time in between working and doing homework and going to school.
I remember being right at the edge of the stage before they called my name when I was in line to go up, and just thinking like, oh my god, like, I'm here already. This is it, like, I'm here right now.
Oziyama Odikon. Adrian Schilling.
And the next thing I knew,
Micah Seidel. Lila Shahidi.
and just like that, I was out.
Let's give a really big round of applause for the class of 2019.
Jesus, how do you feel?
Good.
Wait, I heard you parked for a drive.
After the ceremony ended and the day ended, it was still like pretty early because it was a half day. It was like noon. So me, my brother, and my dad went out to go get sushi to celebrate. After that, I went to go get ice cream with my friend Electra, who had actually moved away last year but came back for the graduation, and this other friend, Aniki. And after we got ice cream, we just kind of walked around town and hung out for like 2.5 hours. It was really fun. After that, I just kind of was chill and watched TV with my brother for like an hour. Then at like 5:30 or something, I met up with my friends. Now I'm going to go to dinner with Grace and Ozzy and Adrian, so that's gonna be cool. So I'm going in like 30 minutes because it's gonna be fun.
Sorry. Ozzy!
And then after that, it's a lot of things. We did like the most fun thing ever. We went back to Grace's house and we like had a bonfire that we made of just our old homework and papers that we had left over from all of middle school. Oh my god, that was like the most fun thing ever.
We're filming!
We're filming? Not to tell her. Fire extinguisher from between. That would be a
Wait, where's my...
There we go. There we go. I just put it in. Oh, yes.
We all gotta start like dancing around it like a cult.
A wimbo it, a wimbo it, a wimbo it, a wimbo.
Sorry, just there's a camera. There's a camera behind you. That's good. Thank you. For one stick.
You see? She gave me a
Yeah, I can see how
Well,
bad.
no, now we're putting in paper. All right, everyone leave it for a second.
glad that made it in for right here.
So therapeutic. Life is good.
Every single piece of paper Adrian's giving can't take. I don't very much enjoy school, and I would like to criticize it.
This was the worst unit of all.
It's just
like,
circles.
time.
It's
what,
too
what
many
unit?
circles. I'm not a fan of circles that much.
Writing down notes doesn't make you learn them.
I'm trying to make up the speed of light.
Like 6th grade, I had to. Oh.
I did it.
Oh. Oh. I gotta get. Where's your marker?
Adrian, what did you get in science?
B minus.
All right, I got in science a D minus. You know what I got? B. Wait.
Portia.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Put them in orange.
Great.
Let's go the lighter.
And
Okay, yeah,
I'm glad I
Adrian
don't
took
have to
my
wake up
lighter.
early on Monday. But I haven't
Alright,
burned
guys,
all my
we're
homework
keeping
yet,
this
so
as a
I mean,
tradition
I could
every
feel
year.
a little more liberated.
All right, cool beans.
I quite like chemistry. No. God, my eyes.
Where's? There it is.
Sparkle.
Oh. I don't know who's balancing chemical equations.
I need you guys to send all these videos to me.
Alright, where do I put Parker?
I'm finally done with middle school.
I did it again.
Welcome to Disney Channel.
I want to make
Oh,
a supersonic plan of you. Hey. Don't stop me. Don't stop me.
How does it feel to feel nothing at all? I wonder. I imagine it's gray, like the world suddenly lost its color. But I'd be lying if I said I hadn't wished to feel nothing at times, to feel nothing. 'Cause feelings are painful and I don't wanna suffer through all those moments without you when I lost you.
It's so important to have friends and people you can go to, especially during something like middle school. Middle school can make you look on the dark side of things really easily. It can make it feel like the world is small and closed and there's nothing fun to do in the future. But it's much easier to think like that when you're alone and like not doing anything. If you're with a good group of friends and you're doing fun stuff, or if you're just with a good group of friends, being with another person and doing things can help you see good things about the world and give perspective on just how wide the variety of stuff there is to do in the future. When you're alone and not doing anything, there's nothing to like look at or give you an example of how much fun life can be.
So happy that you felt, so happy that you dealt with it, yeah, you dealt with it. Feelings, oh feelings, you tear me apart and I wish I could start again. But I know that there's the other side, the one that I can't see right now, but I'll find it.
We had the bonfire, we all hung out and just like talked. It was pretty much like a whole party. At one point we just like ran out into the street, running around and just like yelling just victoriously because we were so happy. Then later at like 10:30 or something, we went, this is probably like 7 or 8 people, we all walked to Dunkin' Donuts, just got food and then just really slowly walked back while like talking and just hanging out. And at one point when we were walking back, we just laid down in this abandoned store's parking lot and just kind of looked at the sky and just kind of lay there for a minute, just like, it was like kind of like a movie scene. We all had like a sleepover at our house and just kind of played Mad Libs till like super late. So it actually ended up being a lot more than just leaving middle school that day. That day was full of hanging out with friends, going out to eat, having good conversations with people, bonfire we had, the party and the sleepover. It was so packed and so much fun.
Yourself that it's temporary. Oh, it won't last for long.
Everyone say
No.
hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right.
13-year-old girl sleeping.
Good morning.
Sleepover.
Let's talk about boys.
Oh my God.
Did you see Ryan?
This has been the first day of summer, which has been very awesome. And, right?
I feel obligated to note for Micah's YouTube video that I'm the one hosting this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grace.
Yeah,
Grace is the one who's hosting this, and she's
Mr.
awesome.
Gunn.
I'm mostly
Mr. Gunn.
And I'm mostly here because Grace is my step sibling, but this was so much fun.
Alright, so we're kind of going to bed and it's 1:30.
Yeah.
Are we?
My
Good.
normal sleeping time is like 5 a.m.
So everyone
Yes,
just say
what do you have?
Stoodaloo. Oh. So I wrote a part of the video script to like say some actual specific reasons why middle school is so
Terrible.
but actually when I was interviewing my friend Portia, she said a lot of the same points that I wanted to make, so this is just her saying them. How do you think middle school was in total?
Middle school is awful. No one should do it.
But why though?
Because well, this is an interesting question because it's not really that it's like middle school and like the work and the teachers and stuff and the actual school. It is that a bit, but I think it's also just that like these like 3 years are like the worst 3 years to be alive, and having to go to school every day and deal with teachers you don't like and deal with like racist people, homophobic people, terrible people, and just all around people you don't like just doesn't make it better. Middle school as a whole is bad, but mostly just because of like what's going on at this particular age.
That's the kind of exact response I wanted. That's great. So, like she said, middle school happens at a time in a person's life where already by default, it's really hard to like have any control over your emotions. Things are changing a lot, and most people who are really self-conscious are trying to like figure out a bunch of stuff like the world or themselves. And what really sucks about middle school is that even with these bad defaults, there are often also pretty bad situations. Either people being mean, judgy, homophobic, the amount of work that's assigned, which can just seem like so much work about subjects that are like pretty much seemingly irrelevant to everything, or friendships and other people's moods changing as well for seemingly no reason, just because they're going through pretty much the same thing as everyone else. So those are the points that I wanted to make. We said pretty much similar things, right? I don't want to sound ungrateful for how insanely lucky of a person I am to have the opportunities that I have and be able to go to school. I know a lot of this video is just like me complaining about middle school. It's just that these things I just mentioned about school tend to make it very easy to look on the dark side of things.
Especially by June when we're all tired and we're ready for summer and exhausted both physically and mentally. It can be really easy to sort of focus on the negatives of the year, but I think when you take a minute to reflect on the positives and all the good things that happened and all the good that you see happening, because sometimes you can focus on all the things going on that shouldn't be happening in the building.
In school, you can get sad, say, because of something that happened, and then you can start looking on the dark side of things. And if you don't have someone to really talk to about it, then it can just kind of continue in a spiral like that and thinking about all the bad things in the world instead of actually enjoying life. Unless you're trying to figure out a way to fix problems, just thinking about bad things in the world doesn't do any good except make you sad. For me, something that really helped was trying to find like something consistent. A person or friendship or an idea or hope for the future that you can like work towards. Something or someone that you can trust to stay the same will like give you more stability so that like even if something happens, you can trust that that thing will stay. For me, whenever I was doing something, having an idea of how I wanted it to turn out in the future, or just if I was generally not feeling like hopeful, like I would try to imagine and like look forward to good stuff that would happen in like distant future, like the dream job I wanted to have or like the house I want to live in. Also, something that was really cool that happened at the fire, when we were just hanging out there, I went to go pick up something which was on like a table nearby in the backyard, and I heard a song being played in the neighbor's house. This song, Don't Think Twice It's Alright by Bob Dylan. I just thought that was really cool because I had like been listening to that song a lot at about that time near the end of the year. I kind of like connected it to like leaving middle school. The fact that it was playing it at like this kind of on the last day on like this really big celebration that we were having to finish it, I thought that was really cool. Now I'm recording here, yay. So in the last like week and a half of school, our English teacher gave us this pretty cool assignment. She told everyone in the 8th grade to write either an opening or a closing speech for the moving up ceremony. And out of all the ones that the 8th grade wrote, one opening and one closing speech would be picked for the student to actually read it at the moving up ceremony. So I thought this was really cool because, like, first of all, if I got it, that would just be really fun. But then also, I thought that would just be like a super awesome way to end the year, and also just a really great way to end this video. I thought it would be like a cool thing to have, like a cool conclusion to the video that it would have. I put a lot of effort into trying to write my speech, and I think it came out really good, but I didn't get picked. But I'm still not going to let that stop me from having an epic ending to this video. So this is my speech. So I think that most 8th graders here can agree that this has been a pretty odd 3 years. Going through puberty while at the same time being in a building with about 100 other kids also going through puberty for 6 hours every day is a pretty bad recipe for a good learning environment. But what can you do? That's what middle school is. But this school also has some really cool things about it. Some of the students and teachers are just marvelous. So my experience here has caused some mixed feelings. If I were to act wise enough to try and give advice about going through middle school, I would say this. This is something that I've known for so long, but that took a while to sink in. You should always be the most genuine version of yourself and be that version of yourself for you and no one else. And to add on, you should also always do things that you find interesting and that you love doing. If you're interesting, then that means your life will be interesting. And that means that no matter if things get bad or good, you will always be part of your own interesting story.
Well, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, if and you don't know by now. Well, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, it'll never do somehow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason that I'm traveling on, but don't think twice that's alright. Well, it ain't no use in turning off your light.
This school has caused some of the happiest, some of the saddest, some of the most interesting, and some of the most boring experiences of my life. And I'm pretty sure that at least some of you can agree with that. Looking back, a lot of time I could have spent being productive. I spent being sad, watching TV, and learning things that I didn't at all need to know. But after that, one way or another, I turned up here. And if I did it over again, I wouldn't change anything, because I like where I am right now. Now, here at the end of 8th grade, the end of middle school, talking to you guys. Now I think much more deeply and much more logically and work much more passionately on what I want to work on. I like the path I'm on, and when summer and high school start, I'm going to continue on that path. And I don't know how I got on it or who to thank, but this school has somehow helped me get on it, because HPMS has been a big part of my life for the past 3 years as I started to become an actual, more real, better, more conscious person. The best way I think for me to express my feelings towards this school is to quote just a small show that maybe a few of you know. It's called The Office. This is Jim's final line from the entire show in the finale episode. Even if I didn't love every minute of it, everything I have, I owe to this job. This stupid, wonderful, boring, amazing job. That's all, folks. Have fun and toodaloo.
Well, so long, honey babe. Where I'm bound, I cannot tell. Well, goodbye's too good a word, babe. So I'll just say fairly well. Well, I'm not saying that you treated me unkind. Could have done better, but hey, I don't mind. You just kinda wasted my precious time. But don't think twice, that's alright.
Micah Seidel.
And just like that, we were out, better than we had come in. And I'm ready. We're ready for the next part, no matter what it is. Because now, unlike last time, we know what we can do. And we know better what we're trying to do with ourselves. And now, unlike how we went in last time, we're all going in together. Whether, like, specific times were good or bad, like, all in total, are you glad it happened?
I think I'm much better now that I've left, you know? Alright, let me just collect my thoughts for a sec. I came in going through a lot of shit, and I left having really figured myself out and figured out the world. I left with a group of friends who really supported me, and with like people who really liked me, you know, which before I didn't really have that. Like in general, I'm very happy it happened, and I'm very happy I was able to grow as a person. I would not do it over again just because I don't want to experience it, but right now I also wouldn't change anything.